Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Arcantu here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm so happy to have some time with you today on this Tuesday afternoon. We are back just doing almost exactly what we were doing a week ago today. We're doing again this week. A week ago today, our team gathered at Montclair State University to do a Get Out the Vote rally. We were so grateful to have the president of the university with us and our Secretary of State, Commissioner Way, our Secretary of State Way, join us as well for the conversation. And we partnered with the Student Government Association at Montclair State. We registered over 125 students in the short time that we were there. And here we are a week later, still focused on this conversation, and that's because it is so important. So I'm so glad that we could give more space to it. We know that midterm elections are around the corner, and we are just, as I said, in full swing about our Getting Out the Vote initiative, and that's why we're so excited to continue the conversation today. And today we are talking with Melissa Marks, who is the community organizer from the New Jersey League of Women Voters. And she has been in this role since March of 2021, and she's focused on mobilizing members, volunteers, and New Jersey residents to participate in elections, advance priority legislation, and spread election information. She is passionate about civic engagement, voting rights, and voter education, which I understand because I'm passionate about all of those things as well. So with that, you're going to have two very excited folks talking with you today about the topic. So welcome, Melissa. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. And also, I was at Montclair State last Tuesday registering voters.
You were there as well. There was a wonderful initiative. Actually, was happening, around the country because it was a National Voter Registration Day. There were so many tables from organizations like both of ours, and also the actually right next to us was the Passaic County Board of Elections. They were there as well. There were multiple organizations, and I guarantee if we added our numbers and your numbers and their numbers, um, there were a couple hundred people for sure that were registered that day. Um, and uh, and that's amazing because we know that was happening all around our country. And so important. So before we jump in, I always want to make sure we give space to talk about the organizations that folks come from when they are on YWTV. Tell us a little bit. I know about the league. I'm a member of our here in our area, but I'm a debate moderator, as I shared with you in trained debate moderator before we started. But for those who don't know who the League of Women Voters are, tell us a little bit about the organization.
Absolutely. Yeah. And love all the local members that we run into. It's fantastic. But yeah, the League of Women Voters of New Jersey, we are a not local nonprofit that works throughout the state. We work on advocacy. We're completely nonpartisan. So everything that we do it in a nonpartisan way. Our slogan is defending democracy. So we're all about defending democracy, making sure everyone has access, all eligible voters have access to the ballot, making sure that people know when the dates are, when the deadlines are. And we also advocate on legislation, again, around our defending democracy platform in a bunch of different legislative priority areas. So we do a lot of work throughout the state, and we have about a little over 30 local leagues here just in New Jersey, all the way from Bergen County down to Cape May County. So we're all over the state and really excited to be here and remind folks to get out the vote.
So there these your organization is all around the state. If somebody wants to learn about their local league and how to get involved in it, how do they do that?
Yeah, thank you. So anyone can go to our website, lwvnj.org. So like League of Women Voters of New Jersey, lwvnj.org. At the top, you'll see at the bar, it'll say local leagues. So you can click on the local leagues bar, and that will take you to the information on all the local leagues that we have across the state. But if you ever have any questions, you can send us an email at the bottom of our website. There's a way to email us and we'll connect you with a local league. If there isn't a local league in your area, you can still become a member and you can still volunteer and you'll be a member of the state league. So the New Jersey State League, and we'll make sure that you're, still engaged in everything that you possibly can be.
So, folks, we have for you right in the comments the website so you can go and you can learn and more about the league after we're talking today, but also how to find your local one if there is one, or connect to the state one if there isn't. So, I think we should spend every Tuesday at this time focusing on getting people out to vote, especially for the next few weeks. But let's talk about that. How do we get folks to register to vote in New Jersey if they're not registered yet?
Yes, great question. So we have, of course, all the voting information you can need on our website as well. Again, lwvnj.org, and there's a voting tab at the top, or you can go to lwvnj.org/vote. But also, New Jersey State has a really great informative portal that has everything you could possibly need about voting. And so to get there, you'll go to vote.nj.gov. And that will take you straight to their informative portal. And from there, you can find everything: voter registration, vote by mail, am I registered, where is my polling location? So everything that we'll talk about, you can find either on our website or you can go to vote.nj.gov and that will take you directly to it. But in terms of registering, there's a handful of important things to know. First, who can even register? So you are eligible to register if you are a United States citizen. You have to be at least 17 years old. You can register when you're 17, but you can't actually cast your ballot until you turn 18. So remember that. And you need to be a resident of your New Jersey county for 30 days before the election. You must not be currently serving a sentence of incarceration or felony conviction. However, individuals on probation and parole are eligible to register to vote. So if you're on parole or probation, you have to re-register and you can register and you can vote. And the other important thing to remember is that the deadline is October 18th to vote in this upcoming general election.
And that's really important, right? Because if you kind of get caught up in the days and you decide to register on October 19th, you have to wait an entire year to cast your vote. So we really are trying to emphasize and reinforce to everyone that if you we want everyone to vote in this election because voting is important. Voting is your voice, and this is your opportunity to exercise that right for sure. But if you're not registered, you do need to do it by October 18th if you live here in New Jersey. And the dates are different elsewhere in the country in case somebody's watching in another state. But you travel, I'm sure, to a league, it'll connect you possibly to other leagues around the country to be able to help you with that in case that is the case for you. But we want everyone to get registered and to vote by the 18th. We'll also put for all of you in the links in the comments, the website that Melissa just talked about here. So Melissa, could you say that website again so folks could go to do their registering directly?
Yes, it's vote.nj.gov. And so from there, you'll see you can click into register to vote. So just a couple of things to add. You can register to vote online in New Jersey, which is really exciting. So it's really easy to do. You can also register, with an application, and you'll find that on the same website. You can print it out and send it in as well. And then the other thing to keep in mind for registering is you also need to re-register if you need to update any information. So for example, if you moved and your address changed, if you got married or you changed your name for any reason, and again, if you completed a sentence of incarceration, all of those are reasons that you'll want to re-register and then update that information.
And I'm so glad that you shared that because sometimes we think that we're registered, but we did have a life event happen, in the interim and did not make that connection. And it's so easy to check. I mean, there's so many ways and places, that it pops up for you to be able to do that, to just confirm that all the information is correct. But you can do that also by going to the link here. So even if you think you're registered, it's totally worth it to just take a check, eyeball everything, and make sure that all your information is up to date. just in case, over this past year, something has changed in your life and, you've gotten busy and forgot about it, that this is one piece of paperwork that I will say we make it very easy now, to be able to do this. It's all, as Melissa said, everything that you can do, doing it online. So let's talk about that next step, right? I mean, obviously, once you're registered, what I always like to say to people is think about your circle, right? Check on them. And Secretary of State Way said it last week, and I thought it was great the way she said it, is that voting is getting people registered to vote is a team sport. So not only should you make sure that you're registered, but you should ask around to your family and friends, to your circle, to, and say to everyone, are you registered? And here's the link in case you're not. And to also do that check for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to your friends, talking to your neighbors, encouraging them to vote. And students, young people, that's another big, demographic that we want to encourage, not just to vote, but to update their info. When we were at Montclair State together last Tuesday, a lot of what we were doing is people would say, oh, I think I registered when I turned 18. I don't know. I'm, not going to be in South Jersey anyway. But if you're living at the school, you're a resident at your school, you can vote from your school. So you'll have to re-register, put the address that you want to vote from, and you can be a registered voter at that location. So there's a lot of important things that can come out of these conversations, even if you think, hey, everyone I know is registered, everyone I know is voting anyway. Our lives are busy. It's so easy to forget. So definitely I encourage everyone to bring it up with your friends, bring it up with your family.
So let's fast forward to we're registered. We've made sure all of our friends and family are registered. We've gotten the word out on our circle. And let me also say, folks, it's so easy for you to take this link and copy it, put it on your Facebook page, and remind every one of your Facebook friends. Send it in a group text to your family. I mean, really helping spread the word for voter registration is so easy to do because it is online. But after everyone is registered to vote, let's talk about voting. Talk to us about that process these days. I know that, we're coming out of, lockdown. We're coming out of, so many changes these last few years that have, happened around voting, how we vote. Where are we today for anyone who's, trying to figure it out?
Yes, it can be complicated. There's almost too many options. How do you pick? How do you decide? So, a few things that we always say is make your plan. Make your plan to vote and make it ahead of time and write it down and tell people to hold yourself accountable to it because we know our lives are busy and it's very easy to forget. So, in New Jersey, we have three options for casting your ballot once you are registered. You can vote early during the early voting period, early in person at voting machines. That is new as of last year. And so that is a 9-day period that we can now go to polling locations. For early voting, you can go to any early voting polling location in your county. And that takes place from October 29th until November 6th. And during that period, the polls will be open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays and Saturdays, and from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. So you can vote in person during that early voting period at early voting polling locations in your county. You can also vote by mail. So that's a whole other process. If you would like to vote by mail, anyone in New Jersey that is a registered voter can vote by mail, but you do have to apply in order to do so. And again, there are deadlines and dates associated with this as well. So you cannot apply online yet, unfortunately, but you can apply with a paper application that you can download from vote.nj.gov or from our website that we mentioned before. So you'll download your county vote by mail application, or you can do this when you register to vote as well. And then your options for returning it, you can return it to your county clerk by November 1st through the mail. So if you're mailing it, it has to be received by your county clerk by November 1st, which means decide now if you're voting by mail, fill out the application and send it in now. Don't wait until November 1st or a couple days before. But if you do miss that date, you still have until November 6th to bring that application directly to your county clerk in person. So you can do it that way as well. And then the last option, of course, is you can vote in person on election day, which is November 8th. And you can find your polling location, hours, and everything on vote.nj.gov. And it will also be listed on your sample ballot that you will receive.
Wow. I mean, you really said it. There are a lot of options, but with that, the good part of that is that really it doesn't leave anybody out there. It really leaves an opportunity for you, as you said, to make your plan and think in advance which option you want. And it's always good. You also know your backup option if something goes wrong, right? You can always go vote in person the day of. But if you want to employ one of the other options, they're there for you. And all the specifics are there. Now, in case somebody missed them, they can go to your website, and they're all listed there easily for them to review again. Is that right, Melissa?
Yes, lwvnj.org/vote. We also have a toolkit at the bottom of that page that you can get into that has graphics and flyers and simple explainers. So if you are looking for it all on one page, or you want to distribute it out to your community, you can feel free to download and access all of those tools as well.
So let's talk about why people should vote.
Yeah.
It's we're telling people they should register. We're reminding them how to do it, but a lot of people feel that why bother, and it'd be important, I think, for us to just spend a few minutes chatting about why people should really exercise this right that we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big question. And different things will, resonate more with different people. So, just speaking from my experiences, I personally always think about the decades, the generations of people before me that fought for me to be able to vote. It wasn't just a given, right? We put in time, we put in effort, we fought for this ability. And so, for those people, I will always be casting my ballot every single election. But there are a lot of other reasons as well. Like you said earlier, Helen, our vote is our voice, right? That is how one of the many ways that we can say, hey, I live here, I have opinions here, and this is how I'm showing that, my voice matters, is how I'm using my voice. But there's a lot of reasons that we might think twice about voting, and I definitely understand that as well. If, say, I don't see myself reflected necessarily in the options that I have as candidates, if I don't see the issues that I care about being lifted up all the time from the people that are representing me, that might make me feel a little bit less like, why should I vote? Why should I bother? But there's a lot of reasons still to vote and to make your voice heard, right? When our representatives and our candidates see that we are a constituent, that we are a block of voters, that we are out there, that we're paying attention, that we're listening, they'll listen to our issues and they will take that into consideration. So if you take young voters just as an example, young voters in school, they might care a lot about student loans, but if they don't see that being reflected in their candidate options, might be a little bit less likely to vote. But once young voters are voting, once they have a block, they have a demographic, they are a group of voters, candidates are going to look at that and they're going to care about what those people have to say. They're going to change their their policies to reflect those people. But it's about more than just voting. Go ahead, Helen.
Yes, yeah, no, and I appreciate you going into that level of detail because obviously it is so, it's so important that I keep saying too that we put folks in office, right? And so by voting, and so if we want a more representative slate, if we want more representative officials out there representing us, right, it's important for us to make sure that we are actively part of making sure that we state that with our vote, not just with our voice, that it has to be together for sure. And we also know there are so many issues that are up over the next few years for conversation that are related to this as well. And so, whoever we put in office will be making those decisions, on our behalf and representing us in those matters. So it's so important for us to be, thinking about that.
Definitely. And just like you're saying, it's about not just about, our big presidential elections or our congressional candidates or anything like that. It's also about our local elections, our local officials. What do I care about? I care about the things that impact me on a daily basis. And a lot of the time, our elected officials that are, making changes on the local level, that are doing zoning or schools or that kind of thing, those are our local elections that we need to turn out for. And historically, those elections don't get a big turnout, right? We don't come out to vote for our school boards or our town councils, but we need to, because those people really do have a big impact on our daily lives. So every election, not just the big ones, and think about the issues that you care about and the ways that you're impacted by the folks in office. But it's not just about voting, right? It's about how can you get involved, and you can attend meetings and you can run for office as well. You can run for town council, you can run for school boards, you can do these things to make sure that your community is heard, that you are being heard, your issues are being heard. It doesn't just stop at voting. If you can't vote, that's okay too. You can talk to your friends that can vote. You can tell them the issues that you care about. You can encourage them to vote. So there's so many different ways to be part of this process, and don't feel like you can't make a difference, because you can.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you spent, a moment focusing on the fact that, voting in every election is important, because on every level, those, whoever is sitting in those seats are making decisions that impact our lives for sure. But we shouldn't stop there. I love that called out, and I do wish that people would consider the importance of sitting on boards and sitting, and considering running for office, whether it's locally or, at every level. Again, we are the more reflective that our representatives are, the more reflective our voices will be in uh, policy development and in the conversations that are happening in these important spaces. So it's you know lots of layers and opportunities here, to be involved for sure. So, folks, I want to make sure again that, Melissa, please, again, we have the links here for you so you can go learn more about the league, and also send you so that you can, if you haven't registered to vote, or if you want to send a shout out to your circle to make sure that they have as well and that your information is all current. You've got the link here to do that as well. Any last words that we want to leave our viewers with about, you know, key dates and upcoming important things to remember for this big cycle that we're getting ready for on November 8th?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are many. I won't list all of them. The one coming up the most is October 18th is the voter registration deadline. So definitely make sure you check everything out then. But just go to our website or vote.nj.gov to see the deadlines and the dates there as well. And the last thing I'll say is that everyone should consider applying to become a poll worker. Being a poll worker is a really great way to serve your community, to be part of the process, and we need poll workers. It's constantly it's difficult to get enough poll workers. Now we have early voting. We have the ability to be a poll worker during the early voting period and on election day. You'll get training. You'll also get compensated. So it's a really great way to get involved. And you can go to pollworker.nj.gov to learn more about eligibility and to apply. So I definitely recommend everyone considering applying to be a poll worker this fall.
Well, I'm so glad that you shared that last piece. And can you say that website again so we can put it in the comments for everybody?
Yes, it's poll worker NJ. Let me just double check now. I'm questioning myself. pollworker.nj.gov.
Okay, so we'll be dropping that into the comments as well. I mean, it is so important to consider that option as well, and it's a real opportunity to just be very active in the process. So I'm so glad that you shared that. again, so we got it right there popping up into our comments, pollworker.nj.gov. You can learn all about the opportunity. And if you're interested, you can apply for it. And again, that's something else you can definitely share with your circles for sure. Melissa, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. You shared so much, so much important information with us. So many key timeframes and deadlines. Great links for information, and we will keep talking about this. I'm sure we'll be meeting up at other events, table to table, side by side. Getting the word out, and we encourage everyone to just, remember that, you all can make a change. We all have the opportunity to make a difference. And this is one of the ways for sure that we can do it, by being involved in this process so fully. So, with that, we encourage everyone to go check out the League's website. We encourage you to check out the YW's website. Lots of great programs happening for you at the YW as well. And, we will see you all at our next YWTV. Thanks so much, Melissa. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.